Oh, for sake.
So let's be honest, in the grand scheme of things, I'm pretty much an amateur. I'm self-taught through YouTube videos. So to get this pallet wood into decent shape and be able to use proper joinery is going to be quite some feat. Now I've never quite managed the proper joinery techniques, so here's hoping I managed to get it right on this one. First of all, we've cleaned up the pallet wood, laminated it together to get longer lengths, and now we're getting two true square edges. That's a really decent start. I hope I keep up at this pace.
And this is where we're getting to. Very basic how it's going to look. There's a lot of trimming down to do, but that will be one of the ends. Right, it's time to cut some simple joinery into this project now. I've got my 4 posts lined up, clamped together, keep everything square. Got my rails. I'm going to take half the thickness of this, half the thickness of that. Should look nicely line up, nice and square, nice and flush. I'm going to use my circular saw. I'm just going to sneak up on these cuts, keep it nice and tight.
So after a little bit of clean up, I was dead chuffed with 1, how neat they were, but 2, just look at that fit. That's not bad for my first one. Once I'm happy, it's on with some glue and time to get everything clamped together.
Well, it's a new day. Let's take these clamps off, see how that's gone. Not like I've got history doing these things wrong, is it? Right, now that we're all glued up, everything's square, everything's set, it's time to just trim off the edges. Don't fancy age, just a good old handsaw.
After a little bit of clean up, I'm chuffed with how that looks, so I move on to the lats. I make sure I've got a square edge. I've inserted a stop block so I get repeatable cuts, and it's time to make a pile of these because I'm going to need quite a few in the end. I add these to my pile of stock and save them for later.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Right, so I've realised I've made a pretty big mistake. I was gonna cut a groove in before I glued everything up so I could have these sunk in, be a bit more like fitted with a tenon. I've got so excited to glue it all up, I forgot to cut it in and put all my slats in. We'll have to go to plan B on that one. Right, so it's time to put these mistakes right now. I've got my 5 lats, got my spacers, make sure it's all right. I've gone and put a pencil line 2 centimetres in from the top and the bottom, and I've marked out all my bits. I'm just going to go through and colour them in so I know which ones are waste and which ones aren't. I don't want any more mistakes, and I'm going to come back with the router and chop them all out. That should just sink these in nice and flush then.
One of the hardest skills I'm finding with woodworking is patience, and that mistake was just that. I was so excited to be moving along, getting to glue something together, that I completely missed a step. It's an area I'm working on, but luckily it didn't hold me back at all.
So I've got it all kind of laid out now for the ends. I was looking at the joinery and I thought I was overcomplicating it by trying to do half laps both here and all the way up at the top as well. So I've rethought it. I think what I'm going to do is maybe a simple butt joint up there, reinforced with some dowels. And then I'm thinking about doing the same here, and then I thought, well, with angles like this, normally on roofs you get rebated, so I've got a practice piece. I'm thinking I'm just going to do it like that, and again I can always reinforce it with dowels as well as the glue. Well, that was one hell of a stressful glue up. Some nice bits of joinery in there, reinforced with dowels. Daisy chained some ratchet straps together to try and get some tension on this awkward shape. Now it's time to attach these 3 long pieces that are going to be the 2 stretchers at the bottom and the top piece, and get them all attached nicely. I'm going to go with a mortise and tenon. So I'll cut a hole in there, and there, and one up the top, up there. And I'll do that by rotating these pieces round and just taking a centimetre depth off each one as we turn it round, and that should give us the tenon that we need to go in the hole. There we go, a little bit of clean up with the chisel. I've got my first set of tenons I've ever cut. Quite happy with them.
One of the most intimidating parts of this build is getting the maths right. I've never been good at that, and if things don't match up with where they should go, it's never going to fit together.
Right, so I've got my tenons. I've transferred my markings on for making the holes. I'm going to use 20mm Forstner bit and then chisel out the rest. This mobile drill press is awesome for this task. It keeps my drill at 90 degrees, stops me making any errors, and just allows for a little bit of clean up with the chisel afterwards. Well, here we go with the dry fit. I appreciate there's some ratchet straps holding everything together and a little bit of bracing at the top, but that is starting to come together. You can tell what it is.
So, time to put some of that learning into action. I've remembered not to glue up before you do your lats first. So I went through, I routed a groove in both the top and bottom pieces, got my lats, glued them together, and then got pretty much every clamp that I own and clamped it down.
Oh, well, I'm at that stage now, and I don't know if you guys ever get here, where this build is absolutely kicking my ass. I'm about 7 weeks in to a 2 to 3 week build. That's never good. So far, I've managed to cock a few bits up, drop a beam on my head. That was good fun. But, final little bits. Now, a little bit of routing, endless sanding, and then we're on to finish, and then we'll be done. So let's power through and get this finished. This trim router came into its own on this build. Easily gets into all the small places. Right, mattress is on its way, guys, and, well, everything's still in pieces. No pressure there then. Right, we're in now with final hand sand. This is just to knock back them edges from where I've wiped it down with a damp cloth. Sanding is over. Can't tell you how much of a relief that is. Now it's on to painting. I've got a base coat to go on first, 3 coats of just off white paint, followed by a coat of polyurethane to seal it up, keep it sort of mark free and easy to clean. Of course, done that very British thing. I'm trusting the weather. Got sunshine for 5 hours. So the base layer went on in the garage. So here we're going on with first coat, denibbing, second coat, denibbing, third coat, final denibbing, and now we're going on with the final finish, some polyurethane. Finally, it's build time. I'm a little bit nervous though. I know it went together in here, went together when we painted. What if it don't go together when I got to put it in a room? I've only got 3 hours to get this thing put together, glued and made up before the girls get back. Well, that's a relief, isn't it? The dry fit in situ actually works. Time to stick some glue into this now. As with the rest of the project, it's good old fashioned wood glue and a little bit of clamping pressure. For this, I'm again using ratchet straps, and for those tight joints, a little bit of persuasion. Once I'm happy everything's square, it's on with the bed slats at the bottom. With a tiny bit of tidying up, we're all there. Wait for this glue to dry, put the mattress on, and it's time to show the kid. Wonder what she'll think.
It's awesome. It's fabulous. It's amazing. I love you, my new bed, Daddy.
That answers the question, doesn't it? Can a total amateur like me use proper joinery in a project? I think you can.